Hi, good morning, everyone. I think we shall start. It's already 11. We'll allow the participants to keep joining in. Uh, Good morning to one and all, and thanks for joining in. I am Rajdeep Munir, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Reviser. I'll be your host today for today's webinar. And as you all must be aware, so today we are going to talk about AP, which is Advanced Placement Exams. The format of the session today would going to be pretty straightforward. For the first 35-40 minutes, I'm going to walk you through different aspects of this exam. What is an AP exam? Why should you write it? What is the exam pattern? How does the scoring works? Which APs to take? How do you come to a conclusion which APs to take? Then what are the timelines? How you should be planning your prep? And as a company at Reviser, how we can support you or your child in this journey of AP prep. That's what we are going to discuss in this entire AP presentation for the first 35-40 minutes. And post that, we will open the session for Q&As. However, in between as well, if in case you have questions, I will not be able to take it up, but please put it up in the chat section. And once we are done through the first 35-40 minutes, I'm going to pick up each and every question starting from the top to bottom, and I'll make sure I'm answering all those queries that are being asked throughout this process. With that, if there are no confusion, then maybe I can start with the orientation. With the presentation today. Uh, as I said, so let me quickly give a brief about Reviser. So we are a high school support company which assists students worldwide to achieve their high school academic goals. The grades that we focus are predominantly from grade 9 to grade 12. These are the 4 important years in your college prep journey. And in terms of area of expertise, we largely have 2 verticals within the company. The first one is test prep. Under test prep, we help students with SATs, ACTs, and AP exams. For today, our focus of agenda would only and only be advanced placement courses. However, if in case you have more queries, feel free to reach out to us on our numbers, and we'll be happy to answer any queries on SAT, ACTs as well. However, for today, we'll try and stick to the advanced placement. On the other side, we have another vertical, which is in the academic tutoring space, where we help students to do well in the academics for IGCSE, IB, and A levels. Right. So far in the past, we've been in this industry for almost about 6 years now. We've done about 3,500 students, and we've catered to almost about 6+ countries for these 3,500 students. That is where we stand. Now, before I deep dive into the AP, I've already discussed about what are we going to talk about in the AP webinar today. Before I deep dive into that, let me give you a very, very broader picture in terms of how does the college application looks like, right? So if you're a parent who is looking to send their kid abroad and predominantly US, there are 3 major components to it, the way I see it. The first one is your academics, right? So which is your grade 9 to grade 12. The second one is the standardized test prep, which includes SATs, ACTs, and AP exams. So these are something which comes under the standardized testing. And then the third one is your profile building, right? So all of them put together as a recipe goes into your college application, and then finally you apply to the college. That is how the entire gamut of this college prep kind of journey looks like. And today our focus is standardized prep, and under standardized prep, we are going to focus specifically on the AP exams. And over the years, especially in the last 2 years, AP exams have gained a lot more attention by students in India. And one of the major reason is earlier, if you guys are aware, so College Board is the organization which conducts AP examination. It's the same organization which also conducts SAT. And earlier than 2 years back, there used to be something called subject SATs, where you could take those exams and you can show your readiness with regards to maths, physics, chemistry, and other subjects. However, College Board has decided to stop subject SATs from the last 2 years. And since then, AP have gained a lot more popularity. At Reviser itself, we have seen a 4x growth in terms of the number of students who are taking AP. And I'm sure worldwide it would be a much bigger number. And let's try and understand why people are writing it, right? So let's start with the bigger question: what is an AP exam, right? So AP exams are nothing but a college level exams, which are taken on specific subjects, which are taken in high school. They're offered during a 2-week period in May. Very, very critical point. It's unlike SAT, which is offered 5 times a year. Unlike ACT, offers 7 times a year. This is offered only once a year, which is in the month of May. So there is a regular testing, there's a late testing. However, both of them happens in the May itself. there are roughly about 38 AP test options. These are different subjects under which you can take the AP exams. And these 38 subjects, in broader sense, are divided into 7 major subject categories. So you can pick and choose the subjects from these categories. The first major one is AP Capstone Diploma Program. Second is Arts, English, History and Social Science, Maths and Computer Science, Sciences, AP World Language and Culture. In each of them, there are certain number of subjects, which all of them totally comprises of 38. Do you have to write all of them? Not at all. How many do you have to write? That's a question that you have to figure out, depending on where you are. Are you in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11? And we'll try and answer that question when we're talking about the timelines, how many you should be writing it. And an important question comes is, since there are 38 options, which one should I pick, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. That's where I said which AP to take is going to be an important agenda in today's webinar. Now, since we discussed about what are AP exams, now why should we write it, right? I think that's the important question, because most of you can decide probably post this slide whether you should kind of stay in the webinar and hear everything out, or if you feel there is no benefit as such, then there is no point of going ahead and continuing. So there are various reasons why people write AP examination, and one of the major reasons why people write AP examination is to help them stand out in the college admission process. As I said, academics is a very, very important parameter in your college application. It's a recipe that you're preparing. Now, if in case you want to showcase that you are better than your peers, you have done more than what your peers have done, then there is a way to do it. An AP exam is one of the way in which you can do this. So to stand out in the college admission process is one reason why a lot of people write these AP exams. Secondly, if the child is doing a CBSE, ICSE or a state curriculum, rather than an IB or an IG or A-level curriculum, we strongly recommend these students to write the AP course. And the reason is, if you're doing already an IB and IG curriculum, which is widely recognized across the globe, the colleges in US understand how the scaling works. It becomes a lot more easier for them to understand it. And at the same time, they also get some college credits. However, if you're doing CBSE, ICSE, or any of the state boards, it's difficult for them to standardize this across the other curriculum. And hence, we recommend you to write your AP examination and showcase your strength in a particular subject. And also, on the side, you earn college credit. So that's the second reason. The third major reason, as I said, is you also earn college credit. Now, why is that important? There are various reasons why it could be important for somebody. One of the reasons is, so if you earn college credit, so if you understand in US how it works, if you want to graduate, let's say I want to graduate as a computer science engineer, I have to have a certain number of credits. Every course has certain credits associated to it. Like, for example, computer science has 4 credits associated to it. If I need a degree, I need to have, let's say, 150 total credits. So if you have done a couple of APs and if you have earned credits while you are in India, you are saving cost, because in US you are paying for every credit that you earn. So you save a lot of money there. B, you save a lot of time. And now this saved time can be utilized in various ways. So, based on my 6 years of experience talking to kids, they use this time in different ways, right? So some of them will say in the first semester when I went to US, I didn't know how to do my laundry, right? So I needed more time to do the laundry. And hence, because I took the AP, I could ease out my load in the first semester, and I could get used to of adjusting myself, right? Do the laundry, do other stuff of my own, right? So that is one way in which people can use their time. The second is, if you have done some courses already, you have credits, now you can also afford to do another minor, right? So you can take extra courses, and probably along with computer science, I'm interested in. So I have this student who was doing computer science. In addition, he wanted to do something in music. So he's also doing minor in music, right? So because he had credits, it allowed him to take certain extra subjects for music, and he could graduate in the 4-year itself with another minor also. So there are various reasons in which this college credit thing can help you. You need to figure out why you are doing it, right? And accordingly plan the timelines. It helps them to graduate early. As I said, you don't want to do a minor, you can graduate early. I've had students who have graduated in 3.5 years just because you've done AP courses in the past. And once they went there, they were happy to take slightly more workload and finish off the graduate early. The moment they graduate early, that means you have to still pay full fees to the college. However, you save the cost of living. And remember, that's going to be a big cost there as well. So again, a lot of money saved there. You save tuition fees. As I said, because you already have credit, you don't have to pay for the same credits there. You earn academic scholarships and awards. So there are certain scholarships which are being defined, though they are not directly associated to APs, they're directly associated to your profile. If you have a strong profile, you have better chances to get more scholarship. And hence we recommend that doing an AP exam would help you in getting scholarships and awards as well. So these are the different reasons why people write AP. You need to figure out why you think your child should write AP or why the student should be writing it. I think that is a very, very important part. I hope after this slide, you guys have decided that the child should write AP for whatever XYZ reason. And if that's the case, then the next question comes is, how does the exam look like, right? So the duration for this exam is roughly about 2 to 3 hours. It varies from subject to subject. Predominantly, there are two sections in most of the tests. One of them will be multiple choice questions, where you will have certain questions that certain options given, and you have to select the right answer from the option provided. Second is a free response question. And there is important part to note here is there is negative marking here. It's unlike SAT where there is no SAT marking, no negative marking. Here you have a negative marking. Then you have free response. For the free response, you basically have to write your answer. So these are more questions which students get in the school exams as well. So there is a question given and you have to write your entire detailed explanation. And this will be corrected by the human intervention. So there'll be a person sitting on the other side who will correct it and give you the score for this. Right? So you have to write your responses. That's a free response question. So these are generally the two sections, the two part in every test that you will encounter in AP. Now, how are they scored, right? So APs are scored on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least and 5 being the maximum. If you get a 5 on 5, you are extremely well qualified. It's equivalent to getting an A or an A plus in college course. Then is 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1. Now, what should be my aim? Obviously 5 on 5. But if not 5 on 5, at least a 4 on 5, because there are colleges which will also give you credits even if you get a 4 on 5. They are not just looking at 5 on 5, they're also looking at 4 on 5, right? So ideally 5 on 5, but even if in case you're not able to get a 5 on 5, at least a 4 on 5 is something that you should be targeting. I think that is what your target should be in terms of the scoring. Just to give you a very, very high level guidelines, roughly about 80% plus you get a 5 on 5. Roughly about 65-70% plus you get a 4 on 5. And that's how the scaling sort of works. Though it varies from subject to subject, and hence I'm saying roughly that's the number, but it will vary from subject to subject. Now, this is how the scoring works, how the test looks like. Next, very important question, which I said is critical is, how do you decide which AP should I take, right? Now, to decide that, there are various parameters on which you could take that call. And we generally divide them into 3 categories. The first category is based on the scoring pattern. So I would look at the last year, couple of years scoring pattern and see where it is easier for me to do well, right? And I will show you some data to present that. So that could be one option. Second option is if in case I'm clear about the major or the career that I want to do, and then I will link it to the APs which are required for that particular major. So I will do a backward engineering here and try and figure out based on the major, what are the APs which are required. Let's say I don't know what major I would like to do. So then the third option comes in, wherein you are sure that these are the list of 10, 15, 20 colleges which I want to target to, right? Now, in that case, you could look at the AP courses which are being offered or which are being accepted by these colleges and then decide which APs you want to write. So these are 3 different parameters on which you could decide based on scoring, based on major and career, based on the college. And let's see how all 3 of them sort of works here. Let me go to the first one, which is the score distribution. Now, I have picked up the data from 2020, and I've encircled a few things with red and few with green, and I'll show you the inferences for that. So here, if you look at AP, English language and literature and composition, so this percentage denotes how many percentage of students got, let's say, 5 on 5 in that particular year. So in 2020, for AP English literature and composition, only 9.3% student worldwide got 5 on 5, which is a lower percentage. Then let's look at a couple of other subjects from sciences. AP biology 9.5, AP physics 1 8.8, look at AP Physics C, Electricity and Magnetism, and AP Physics C, Mechanics. You have almost about 40% students who got 515 in 2020, right? Which is a very, very high number, which basically showcases it's slightly easier to get higher grade in these subjects. I mean, that's an inference that you can make, right? Now, similarly, if I look at maths and computer science, I would look at AP Calculus BC, 44.6% student got a 515. That's almost about 50%. Then you have AP Computer Science Principles, where only 10.9% student got a 515. AP Computer Science A, where almost about 26% got 515. So from here, if I have to pick, I think you will also pick AP Calculus BC and I'll pick the same. And second, if I have to pick, I'll probably pick AP Computer Science A and maybe not Principal, right? Just purely based on this data. Then let's look at the next category, which is History and Social Sciences. Now look at AP Comparative Government and Politics. You have almost about 25% students who got 515. AP Microeconomics, almost about 24% student who got a 515. AP Psychology, 22.4% student. AP World History, just 9.2% student, right? So based on this, if I have to pick, I'll pick up AP Comparative Government and Politics. I'll pick up AP Microeconomics, Macroeconomics, AP Psychology. If I have to leave something, I will leave AP World History because I definitely see there are less students who got a 515. Now look at the next category, right? So based on this data, so the green basically represented if I have to pick up any subject, then it's easier to score high in these subjects purely based on my last year data. And hence I will pick up these subjects or one of these subjects or two of these subjects rather than picking the one which are in red, wherein the chances of getting a 515 is lesser across the globe, right? So this is just one parameter. Please don't consider it purely based on just one parameter. You should consider the other parameters as well. So this is the first one, which I said based on the scoring distribution. Now let's talk about the second one, which is based on your AP major and career. So there is this link and we'll provide you this link, which is available. So I can choose a category saying major. I can select a subject area and let's select science, math, and technology for today. And let's say these are the different options. And let me select something, let's say in mechanical engineering, right? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, underneath the material, I have mechanical engineering here. So you can pick up anything and try and experiment this out on your own as well. So you click on see results and it clearly showcases what are the different APs that you should be looking at. So bio, calculus AB, calculus BC, chemistry. It'll also show you what are the career options available to the child if he or she decides to pursue mechanical engineering, right? So it could be an aerospace engineer, a pilot, drafter, industrial designer, mechanical engineer, sales engineer, and so on. Right. So we will provide you the link for this. We are recording this entire webinar, and post the webinar, we will be sending out a mailer to you with the recording, as well as we will share this link. For your child, you could go and select the major that you want to look at. And based on that, it will throw you all the AP courses that you should be looking at. And based on that, you can decide which are the APs you should be considering if the child has to write it. Right? So this could be your second parameter. You're deciding it purely based on the major and the career the child wants to pursue. And then the third one is pretty much based on the college credit. And again, there's a link, AP credit policy search. I can select the college, right? So as I said, you might have 10, 15 college lists, right? So let's say I take Stanford here. I want to send a child to Stanford. I want to go to Stanford. So I click on Stanford here. And this will show me all the subjects, all the AP lists, which Stanford as a college accepts. And not just that, they will also tell you as a college for different subjects, what is the number of credits that they provide. Now, for example, let's take an example of AP Calculus BC. So in maths, under maths, you probably would have seen there are two calculus, calculus AB, calculus BC. Calculus AB is a lower level, calculus BC is a higher level. Calculus AB generally gets you credit only for one semester. Calculus BC gets you credit for almost 1 year. Now, if you look at it, here you have AP Calculus BC. If you get a 515, you get total of 10 credits straight, right? That's almost about saving 15,000, yeah, 15K dollars straight. And if in case you have done that and if the child gets 515, you can actually skip maths 19, maths 20, and maths 21 course in college, and the child can straight away take the next level of math. If the child is not able to get a 5 on 5 and they get a 4 on 5, they get 8 credits still. And now, instead of skipping 19, 20, 21, they could skip math 90 and maths 20. So they still will have to go ahead and do the maths 21 course. Now, that is how you can figure out at a certain score. As I said, 5 is great, 4 is also not bad because you will still get some credits and you will still get a chance to skip few courses, right? So this is the third way based on the college credits. Based on different colleges, you can figure out which are the AP subjects that they deem important, and based on that, you could decide which APs to pick, right? So in today's webinar, we talked about 3 major factors based on which you can decide your APs. First one was based on the past scoring pattern. Second is based on the major and the career that the child has decided to pursue. And the third one is based on the colleges that you are planning to, or you aspire to go to, right? And that could be a list of 30 colleges, because it might be difficult for you in grade 10 or grade 9 to even visualize what colleges. I mean, everybody wants to go to the top 5 colleges, but we also need to rationalize and figure out what is the right fit college for the child, right? So you probably can do this activity for about 20, 30, 40 colleges, right? So based on the results from all 3 of them, plus the student interest, plus the student caliber and other activities that they're doing, you will have to decide the AP that the child should be doing, right? So far we have talked about what is an AP exam, why should you be writing it if in case you want to write it, if in case you have decided to write it, then how does the exam pattern look like, how does the scoring works, and then we talked about obviously which are the APs that you should be taking, right? With that, let me move on to the next very important question, which talks about the timelines, right? That great, I mean, I want to write it, but how do I decide which one or when to write it? And before that, let me just quickly walk you through certain things. How do you ace the AP test, right? Again, these are very, very generic discussion. I mean, this is something that has to be done on a very, very personalized one-on-one basis. However, let me give you a very generic guidelines here. Start now. Start as soon as possible. And one of the reasons why you should be doing that is AP happens, as I said, only once a year. It's not like SAT. If you miss the cycle, you miss the cycle. So you should be starting at the earliest possible, because the next AP is happening in May 2023, right? So for that, you should start as soon as possible. Utilize the study material. So there is less material. So obviously, whatever material you can gather and collect, please utilize that study material. Seek help. Don't hesitate in asking for help, because there is less guidelines available outside with regards to AP. So seek help from your seniors, from your friends, from company like us. You'll be able to understand what you need to do better in these tests. Take practice tests. Take as many practice tests as possible. Rather, take a practice test right before to understand how much do you understand the subject. Is this something where you are 40% prepared, 50% prepared, 70% prepared? What is that delta that you need to fill in? If the delta is too huge, then you have to take a call. Do I have enough time to put into this subject, right? So that's how logically you will have to decide whether you should take a subject or not take a subject, right? Maintain a schedule, very similar to start now. Start early, maintain a schedule, stick to the schedule, because that's going to be the key, as you have to do this through and through for the next 8-10 months if you want to do well in the month of May. And in between, you will also have your school exam, right? So you'll have to plan your calendar really, really well, right? Maintain a well thought out schedule. Study with other students, because as I said, so consider these AP courses more like private courses, right? So you're registering yourself as a private candidate. So obviously you don't have your peers and your friends in school support. So in that case, what you can do is you can make study groups with your friends. Let's say if I'm doing AP microeconomics, I can figure out the 3 students who are doing the same. And then, we can share resources and other stuff, which makes it easier, because now you have a study group through which, you are sort of sharing your learnings as well. So I think that is another advice that I would say. So these are, as I said, these are general guidelines, but very, very important. However, if you have more questions, happy to answer those one-on-one as well. Let me move on to the next part, which is, as I said, very, very critical, which is timelines, right? How does these testing timelines look like? And I've mentioned everything here. Our focus is predominantly AP, but I've mentioned everything here. As I said, grade 9, 10th, 11, 12, these are the 4 years of focus. Profile development, which is happening on the side parallelly. And then you have standardized tests and your academics. Academics is again happening parallelly. On top of it, you have the standardized test, right? How do you plan your standardized test, right? Now, the ideal thing to do would be try and finish your SAT or ACT when you are in grade 10th, probably by the end of grade 10th, ideally. That should be an ideal case. And again, that would vary from student to student. Now, when I'm talking to a IB student or an IGCC student, I would say by March of your grade 10, you should be done with your SAT or ACT first attempt at least. And by May, you write your final exam. However, if you're a CBSE and ICSE student, then your boards are happening in March, April. So you might as well do maybe May of that year, right? So depending on which curriculum you're doing, all these things would change. And hence, we can have a discussion one-on-one, but on a high level, that's how you should be doing your SATs. If in case you're already in grade 11, you're not done it, start doing it at the earliest possible. Just an important suggestion or an information that I would like to share here. I hope most of you are aware, SAT is changing the pattern starting next year, March. So March 2023 onwards, there'll be a new SAT pattern which is coming into existence, and the old pattern will go away. And hence, our strong recommendation for all the students who wants to write SAT is they should finish it in this year. That means you have August, October, and December, the next 3 test dates which are available. So you should try and finish your SAT. If in case you're in grade 11, you should do that, because you would not want to write the new pattern, because most of us would not know what to expect in that new pattern as of now. So that's from the SAT perspective. Then with regards to AP, right? Now there are different stages or different years when you can write the AP. I've had students who write AP in grade 9th. When I say grade 9th, at the end of grade 9th, right? In the month of May. I've had students who would write it right after grade 10 in the month of May. And again, I've had students who would write it after grade 11th exam. Now, grade 10th becomes slightly difficult for the students who are doing IB or IGCSE curriculum, because they generally follow May, June exam cycle. So their AP exam cycle and their school exam cycle kind of overlaps, and it becomes difficult to kind of do the APs. However, for CBSE and ICSE students, it's completely okay if you do your AP when you are in grade 10th as well, right? Now, there have had students who have done APs they've prepared for APs in the grade 9, and they've done it before they start the grade 10. That's also one of the good time to do it, because grade 9 as a curriculum is not that hectic and it's not a board year. So you can afford to spend extra time towards the AP. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more effort in terms of prep as opposed to you doing it in grade 11, but I believe you can afford to do it in grade 10 and grade 9 because of less workload as compared to when you do it in 11th and 12th, right? So that is also one of the options. However, you have to be really, really smart in terms of what subjects you will pick, right? So obviously in grade 9th, I would not recommend you to pick up a physics or a chemistry or a calculus, right? That's going to be really, really difficult. And unless the child is a genius and you've done a lot of background, I would say you could think about something like microeconomics, macroeconomics, AP computer science, psychology, comparative politics. These are the kind of subjects that you could look at doing it in grade 9. Then in grade 10, you could pick up slightly more difficult subjects. And in grade 11, in the summer break, that's the time where you could pick up your maths, your calculus AB, BC, statistics, physics, chemistry, bio, depending on your interest area and the subject that you have to do. That is what you could do in grade 11, right? So 9th, take a slightly easier ones, try and do maybe 1 there, grade 10th, another maybe 1 there, and grade 11, maybe another 2. So this way you are able to do about 4 APs. And if you do 4 APs, and if you get above 4 and 5 in all the 4 APs, you also become something called AP Scholar, right? So AP Scholar is an add-on certificate that you get, which you can always write in your college application that you are an AP Scholar as well. And that holds a lot of weightage, right? So that's how we need to plan it. Now, somebody might have this question: can I do it after grade 12 in that month, in the month of May, after I'm done with my board exams for grade 12? You can definitely do it. There is no doubt about that. The only thing is, if in case you are doing it in grade 12, remember, now you will not do it for your college application, because if you understand how the US application works, you will get your admissions latest by March, April in grade 12, right? And you're doing this exam in the month of May. So your admissions are done. Now you're only doing APs purely for credit purposes, right? So can you do it in grade 12? You can definitely do it. However, you're not doing it for college applications now. It's purely from admissions. So it's purely from the college credit purposes. Right? So you have to be very clear why you are doing it, and hence you can do it in grade 12 also. Now with that, let me move on to the last part, which is our offering at Revisor, how we can help you in preparing for these exams. So there are roughly about, in our program, there are roughly about 40 plus hours of live classes that you do with experienced faculty. There are different faculties for different subjects, depending on the subjects that you pick. After every session that you do, you have a 1:1 ratio. If it's a 1 hour class, you have at least 1 hour of assignment that you need to go back and do before you do the next session. We predominantly do one session a week of 2 hours. We take it slow, but we want to maintain a consistency through and through up until May, right? And we obviously do a more build up when we go close to the May. There are unit-wise tests that we give to evaluate your understanding. That will happen after each unit for us to figure out where do you stand after every unit. Then there are mock tests. So the last 2 months, 1.5 to 2 months are purely dedicated towards doing the mock tests, where we have picked up the faster papers. We do those tests along with you to make sure now you have the exam writing techniques and strategies as well. In addition to all of this, we give you an online self-paced course for additional practice. So this is for you to do asynchronous learning as well at your own pace at home. This is the additional material that you get. In addition to that, you get doubt clarification sessions with the faculty. So if in case you have any doubt on our platform, you can type out your doubt, you get sent to the faculty and you get the clarification from this faculty then. So this is what entails in our offering. We have batches, we have one-on-ones, you have both the options that you could pick. And what are the subjects that we cater to? So we do almost about 14, 15 subjects. So these are all the subjects that we do at Revisor. There are more subjects, but unfortunately, as of now, we are not able to cater to that demand, and we have stick to these 4 subjects right now. Right. So these are the subjects that we help students for AP as of today. Right. And that's all that I had for you guys for today's presentation with regards to the APs. And with that, I will open the forum for Q&As. I already see there are a few questions already on the chat box. I'll probably give you another minute or so to just gather all your thoughts. And if in case there are more questions, please drop in a message here and I'll take those. Okay, the first question is from Anushri. Can you share the recording post the meeting? Yes, Anushri, as I said, you will get the recordings post the meeting. Shlok, how will the meeting recording be shared? Through the mail, Shlok. We already have your email ID. If you think we don't have, do register on the link. There was a webinar registration link. Please go ahead and register on that link. I should just drop the link again in the chat section so that if someone has not registered, you can register it directly from there. And once we have your email ID, we'll share it. Next, I have a question from Anaga. How do college credits work? Anaga, I think probably you would have asked this question before I have described about college credit, but if there is more clarification required, let me know. I can repeat myself. College credits are nothing but for every course that you do in college, there are certain credits associated to it, right? So let's say computer science might have 4, maths might have 8, physics might have 3, depending on the weightage of that subject, right? So if in case you have done an AP for a particular course, you can skip that, you earn that much credit, assuming you get a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-5, and hence you can skip that particular course. So I think I did a presentation. I mean, I showed you the entire representation with regards to Stanford College. So that might probably help you understand a little bit more about college credits. Next, I have a question from Mr. Prashant. Is there a time validity for AP TESCO? In that, how early can one take the test, or rather, what's the right time to take the test? End of 10th or end of 11th? Great question, Prashant. I hope I have answered this question in the timeline section. I haven't answered about the time validity. So the AP scores are valid for 5 years. So please don't worry about the validity. You could write it in grade 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. Doesn't really matter. How early one can take the test, I've already answered. Right time to take the test, a very personal question. As I said, in the timelines part, it will depend on the child. It will depend on what subjects you pick. It will depend on all the other parameters. So it could be 9th, it could be 10th, it could be 11th, it could as well be 12th if it's just purely for the credit purposes. And Prashant, we can have this discussion one-on-one. help you understand a little bit more about, help you understand more about this specifically for your child. Then I have another question from Mr. Adnan, which is the earliest grade you recommend students starting taking the APM, starting from after grade 8, 9, etc. I hope I have already answered that question, Mr. Adnan. I recommend grade 9, but you have to be smart enough to pick the right subjects in grade 9. That is very, very critical. Next, I have a question from Mr. Jishnu. Hello, can you share how does one apply to an AP major course through their website? One apply to an AP course major through their website. Jishnu, so we write a lot of blogs, and we have a blog that we've written on our website. We will share that with you. There's a very straightforward process. You go to College Board website. Through the College Board, you basically register for the AP courses. And very, very important part here is, since we're talking about it, so AP registration is slightly trickier in a way that, you don't pay to the College Board, you pay to the school that you are registering. So there are certain schools across India or across globe, which are, in collaboration with the College Board, which have the authority to conduct this exam. So you basically select a seat, you buy a seat in that particular center. So you have to pay to that school, and that school will give you a course code. So let's say if in case, an example from Bangalore, if in case I want to write the exam in Greenwood High AP Computer Science will have a certain specific course code. So you have to pick that course code, apply. That's how it kind of works. Next, I have a question from Shreya. Sir, if you responded to the first question, sorry, I could not hear you. How will the recording be shared? Okay, through the mail, Shreya. If in case you have not already registered, please do register for the webinar again. We will get your email ID, and through that, otherwise drop your email ID in the chat section. We'll pick it up from there as well. Next, I have another question from Shalind. Is there any advantage of taking tough courses in AP exams, maybe not relevant to what course you want to pursue? Example, somebody wants to pursue computer science and taken up AP subjects like economics and biology. Great question, Shalind. So that's one question for which nobody has the right answer. It all depends on the story that you want to build. Ultimately, as I said, you are preparing a recipe, right? So it's a question that, how much salt do you want to put in, right? I mean, it's as per what you feel is right? If you do a subject like economics and you want to pursue computer science, I can always link economics to computer science, right? I can always talk about two things parallelly and explain why I did what I did, right? Or similarly for biology, I can look at the computer science and I can relate that how I could build AI tools for doing some research on the biology or for medicine and things like that, right? So it all depends on how you build the story for the student, what the student interest is, and you will pick up the subject based on that. Is there an advantage? There are advantages in a way that if you pick up a humanities subject, maybe one humanities subject, so US prefers to see you all round, right? So that probably do help. But again, you should never do it at the expense of your academics, right? So the bigger thing that you should be focused on is on your academics. That is very, very critical. If in case your academics are not well, don't even think about APs. APs are secondary, they're not primary. Academics is primary. I hope that answers your question, Challenge. Next, I have a question from Aryan. What's the website for checking the AP credits for universities? As I said, Aryan, you'll get the mail. In the mail, you will have that link. We share typical AP exam that can be taken post grade 10. Question from Adnan. Adnan, as I said, it's a very, very personal choice. For example, just to give you an example, would I recommend a student to take a AP calculus course for grade 10? I can, but it depends which course you're doing. So let's say if you're doing an IGCSE, in IGCSE, there are 3 layers of maths, right? There's extended, there is international, there is add math. If you're an add math student, then obviously you can take a calculus in grade 10. However, if you're an extended or an international math student, it would be difficult for you to do an AP calculus, right? So it all depends on your caliber at that point of time, what subjects you want to pick, and then you take a call. There is no sort of typical AP exam that you could take after grade 10. Yes, there are certain which are easier ones, right? As I said, microeconomics, macroeconomics, computer science. So these are the few that you can always take. It's easier to do well in these courses, and also easier to sort of prepare as well. Okay, somebody answers question from Shailen. You can if you want. It will look good on your profile, but that's is it? Because the college won't take your bio score into consideration if you're taking computer science. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not really, Amit. As I said, that may not be the right interpretation. They they will look at each and every score. If you have submitted it, they will look at each and every score. It only depends on how you will build your story around it, right? So if you have done an AP bio, now one of the story I can build is, if in case you are aware, in IB, you can't take 3 sciences for HL, right? However, I want to take it, right? So let's say if I've taken math HL, because I can only take 3 HLs, right? So I've taken physics and chem HL, but I'm also interested in bio, right? Or you also want to keep India medical option open, right? So then in that case, what I would do is I will do an AP bio and showcase that, hey, you know what? I'm also interested in bio. I didn't do it because it was not helping me to get a AP, in IB diploma, and hence I did not do it in IB, but I did it in AP, and here is my score. So I'm good at bio as well. So it all depends on how you're building your story. That story has to stitch together, right? We can't be doing random APs just for the sake of it. As I said, it's very, very important to do well in academics. If your academics are not well, don't do the APs. And APs are not easy courses to get a 515 or a 415. It would require a good amount of time commitment. So please keep that in mind. Next, I have a question from Sumit Rao. Hello, sir. Which AP course do you think I take for pursuing computer science major in one of the top 20 universities? I've already taken AP computer science AM, which I have received a 5. Sumit, I think I've answered this question. I think you should go back and look at if you already know top 20 universities, go to those universities and see what are the AP courses that they're looking for. We'll share those links with you. Go ahead and, do the research, play around with the college list, and you'll get to know what are the APs. I would recommend, if I have to tell you on top of my mind, then I would recommend do statistics, because computer science and statistics go hand in hand, right? If you're looking at a job in quant-based firm or something like that, or even the calculus would really help, because maths and computer science again go pretty well. Then I have next question from Ayushi Patel. I'm in grade 9 right now, and I've decided to write AP psychology. So can I write another AP exam doing the same thing? Definitely, Ayushi, you can write. You only just need to figure out whether will you be able to handle 2 APs in grade 9, right? So that's the only thing, but otherwise you can definitely write it. Next, I have a question from Vasant. I believe AP is not a must for IB kids. Did I get that correct? Great question. Thanks for bringing that up. It's not even must for CBSE and ICSE. Let me clear that myth first, right? So it's not must for anybody for that matter, right? AP is not a must-do requirement. Please do note, if your school scores are not good, don't even look at APs. Just focus on improving your school grades. APs are only for the kids who are planning to, go to those extra mile and get to a slightly better colleges. Not for everybody. I would not recommend. Don't do it at the expense of your school grades. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question. However, you are right in a way, because so what happens, IB, you already get college credits, right? So that's why a lot of people believe that you don't have to write it in CBSE and ICSE students have to, but then it all depends, right? Are you writing it purely for credit purposes? Then you shouldn't be writing it, right? But I just gave you an example. So let's say if you could not take all the sciences and you wanted to take in IB, then you could always do an AP for that particular science and showcase your interest level, right? So that could be an example. So it all depends on how you build your story, as I said again. Next, I have again, Ayushi, is there any registration process required for writing the final AP exam? Yes, there is process, Ayushi. You will have to go ahead and register on the College Board website once the registration opens up. They've not opened up yet, and then you have to go ahead and register yourself for the exams that you want to write. Next question from Anna: how many times one can write the AP test? There's no limitation. There's no barrier on that. You can write it as many times as you want. Another question from Shlok: are AP scores valid outside US as well? So yes and no. So there are few universities in Canada which will accept it, and very few in Europe. Very few. I would say this is predominantly for US specific. So for other countries, don't even think about doing APs. Another question from Anushka: how many hours is the Revisa AP course and what is the cost? So Anushka, I hope I've answered that question when I was explaining what the course is. We'll send you the program details again, a mail with the costing as well. Costing will depend on different programs. So we have a one-on-one, we have a group. So it all depends on that. We'll send you the mail about the details as well. So Anush, please note down Anushka's name, and we can send out the mailer to her about revisor program details. Thanks, Anushka, for that question. Okay, few people have dropped their email IDs here. I hope you have also registered yourself so that we have all the details there. But we'll pick up these email ID. Dipali, just copy paste these email IDs so that we have them when we are sending out the mail. Next question from Jishnu. In one slide, you have shown how one selects their AP course. Could you please share the link to that portal on their website? Definitely, we'll be doing that. As I said, we'll be sharing the link. So I actually showed it in 3 slides. One, we talked about the score distribution. Second, I talked about based on the major and the careers. Third, I talked about the based on the colleges, right? So there were 3 different slides, and the major and career and the colleges were actually taken up from the AP website directly. So we'll be sharing the link for those as well. Another question from Pravina: does admission depend on AP exams taken? Not at all, Pravina. Not at all. It's not a must-do requirement. It's a good-to-do requirement. The question from Adnan: thank you for the very informative session. Thanks a lot, Adnan. I hope you all have enjoyed it, and I hope this was useful. I tried and kept it as much crisp as possible and didn't want to take too much time. But yeah, thanks for the feedback. If there's any other feedback, please do give it us. We keep doing these webinars every month, so we can improve for the next one as well. Are AP scores super scored similar to SAT score if taken more than once? Great question. No, so they're not super scored. You can send the best one because you will have an option, right? So you can send the best one. Are all AP scores sent to university, or can one pick and choose the best score to be shared with the university that one has applied? Yes, you can pick and choose the one that you want to apply to, definitely. Right? So basically in that case, what happens is you don't send your scores when you get it. You will hold it and you will send it at the end. You'll have to pay extra for it because initially when you write the test, you get certain number of colleges that you can send your score for free, but you're not opting for that service because you're not sure about whether you should or you should not. Once you get the score, you can also cancel your scores, right? So if you don't like that score, you can cancel it so that colleges would not know about that score. Next question is from Amito. How many EPs on average do people usually take, and how many is a good amount? Is there an advantage in taking more diverse like science, maths, CS than taking history as well? Great question, Amito. Yeah, that's what I was talking to earlier, right? I think somebody asked that question. So how many APs on average do people usually take? I've seen 2 to 3. More than that is difficult unless you have planned it well. If you have started planning in grade 9th and 10th, you can do more. But if you're planning only in grade 11th, it will be difficult for you to write that many. So yeah, I think 4 is really, really good because then you become an AP scholar. But it's tough to do 4 and do well in all 4 of them. Is there an advantage in taking more diverse APs? Definitely, yes, there is an advantage, but then not at the expense of your school academics. I've said this multiple times and I'm saying it again. Don't do it at the expense of your academics. Next, I have a question from Shilpa. If one takes AP in psychology now and later picks physics, are those credits considered while taking admission? Yes, definitely. They do, Shilpa, but you have to, as I said, you'll have to check for that particular college for the course that you're applying. Is AP psychology even there in that list, right? If it's there, then it applies for college credit. Otherwise, it will not, right? But then you can show it in your college application, right? As I said, super critical to figure out why you're writing it, and then it will start making a lot more sense, right? I hope that answers the question. Okay, some appreciation from Pravina. Thanks, Pravina. Arush and Aga, they've shared their email IDs. We have noted it down. Prashant, I would also like to be interested in the detail. Do share them on prashant@yahoo.co.in. Dipali, please do take these email IDs. We have to send our course details with Mr. Prashant. Ayushi also said she's interested in our course. We have to say the details. Anushka Tonapi also said, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Anushka also is interested in the course. So we have to share on this particular email ID. Okay. Shreya, I'm also interested in the course. Share my email ID in the chat previously. Please do send the course details. Thanks, sir. Great, Shreya. Yeah, I think I have taken up all the questions so far. Shailendra has also shared his email ID and he needs the course detail and fee details. Definitely, Shailendra, we'll share it with you. Any other questions? Any recommended? Okay, next question. Any recommended APs for class 8? Tough, but again, same, right? Psych is slightly easier one. Psychology, microeconomics, macro is tough. Micro is slightly easier. Maybe that. Computer science, if in case you have done some sort of computer science in the past, is something that you could look at. But as I said, it is very, very personal, Anushka. It all depends on what subjects you have done so far in school, what subjects you plan to take later. So you have to figure out the right match for yourself. It has to be a very, very personal answer, because you would know which are the subjects you're interested in, which are the subjects you are strong in, and based on that, this call has to be taken, right? So yeah, I think that becomes super critical, and hence it's a personal question. If you see, I've shared two numbers here. Feel free to call us on these numbers. Happy to set up one-on-one calls with you and have this discussion about what are the right APs that you should be doing, right? So that obviously is the part of the journey that we have to take with you when we help you figure out not just how to prepare, but also importantly, which are the APs that you should be picking up, right? That becomes a critical part. Sudipta also wants the course and fees details. I have their email ID. Thanks, Sudipta. Any other questions that you have that I should answer? Okay, I got another question from Mukul. What do you recommend for AP US History and AP World History? Since I understand whether it does not provide those courses. Yes, Mukul, we don't provide those courses. I think, honestly, I have not done a lot of research on these two courses. But if you go back and look at my slide about the scoring, AP World History was a lot more difficult to score, right? But it also depends on your interest, right? I mean, assuming if you're taking history, you have some sort of interest in this subject, right? So you'll have to figure out your interest area. Go to the AP College Board website, look at the syllabus, and then take a call and see which one you are more interested in, right? And also, as I said, figure out how prepared are you, 40%, 50%, 60%, and then what is the delta left, right? That helps you to kind of take that call. I hope that answers your question, Mukul. Okay, I have another question from Mr. Oman. Great question. Micro and macro, both are different APs, are combined one paper, two different APs completely. You could do microeconomics 1 year and macroeconomics next year. So these are two different APs. They're not combined at all. Next is a question from Vasanta. Do share the course and fee details. Thanks. Thanks, Vasanta. We have noted that down. Another question from Filter. Do you assist in the college admission application? We don't directly assist in. We can suggest you, recommend you, let you know a few people who do it. But at Revisor, we don't do it. As I said, our focus area is to test prep and academic tutoring. So under test prep, SAT, ST, and AP courses. And academic tutoring, IBCSE, IB, and A level subject tutoring, maths, physics, chemistry, bio, English, those sort of subject types. Great. Any other questions? Okay. Great. So, I think that brings us to the end of today's webinar. I hope you guys liked it. It was a useful webinar. We would be sending out a mail. In the mail, you will have the recording for today's webinar. Feel free to share it with your friends, colleagues, whoever you feel might have some help here. Second, you should also we'll also be sharing all the two links that I shared about the AP College and Major and AP courses, AP colleges. And then thirdly, I'll also be sharing a Google review link. If in case you have any good feedback for us, please do help us, do write it, and it'll help us to grow. Oh, thanks, Shreya. So thank you so much for this session, sir. Love the way you talk. Thanks, Shreya. Thanks a lot. Help me to do better next time. Yeah. And could you recommend some APs that would be easy to take in grade 10? Again, difficult answer now. As I said, it's a personal journey. I've already said the easier ones: psychology, microeconomics, macroeconomics, computer science. These are slightly easier ones. History, if in case you enjoy history. Geography, if in case you enjoy geography, but they are slightly different, right? So these are the ones that you could look at. But again, it's going to be a very, very personal choice. Vasanta, very informative session. Really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. Shalin, thank you, Razi. Thank you, Razi, for the informative session. Very helpful. Thanks a lot. Just I don't have the links ready, really available right now, unfortunately. I don't know if my team has it right now. If in case we have, we'll share it. Otherwise, don't worry. Just these numbers are there. If in case you don't get this mailers by end of say tomorrow, by end of the day today, feel free to reach out to these numbers, and we'll be more than happy to send it across over WhatsApp. Sorry, I don't have it ready. I'm really sorry. Thank you. Great. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Pleasure talking to all of you. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend. Take care. Stay safe.